Thanks so much for being here. You're going to love Jamie Maurer's pictures. She's a New York City photographer, and I saw your pictures and I fell in love with them because I love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
Manipulating your photography. What are you shooting with?
I'm shooting right now with a Canon 5D Mark III, and I have several different lenses. I go between a 24 to 70 and a 70 to 200.
Why are you a photographer?
Oh God, that's the question, isn't it? I don't know. I don't think there's anything more exciting than getting that perfect shot, you know, whether it's, you know, doing my event photography or going out and shooting landscapes or like finding somebody riding in their bike while the light is hitting the Chrysler building in like the most perfect way. It's just capturing those moments. It brings me joy, and seeing other people enjoying my pictures.
Did somebody put a little camera in your hand when you were tiny, or how did you become a photographer?
My parents, from a very early age, they wanted to introduce us to culture, so they would take us traveling to different countries from a pretty young age.
Lucky you.
I know. And I used to steal their camera and take tons and tons of pictures and rolls of pictures, and then we get home and they develop the pictures and they say, Jamie, there's no people in these pictures. It's all landscape photos. So from that point on, they bought me my own camera. They said, you're going to take these pictures, you can develop them, you can pay for them, and this is all on you from here on out.
And did you grow up in the city?
No, I grew up in Maurer, New Jersey.
Okay, and then but now you're in New York City.
Yeah, now I live in Astoria in Queens. I can see Manhattan from my rooftop, so that also helps a lot with some of my photos.
Let's start looking at your photos. All right, here's one of last night with the super blood wolf moon. Where are you to get this shot?
I am just under the Chrysler building, 42nd Street. I was walking across the street and trying to figure out where exactly to position myself, and I saw at least 10 other photographers positioning themselves under the moon, and I figured I was in the right spot.
And you got it exactly in between the point there of the moon.
It kept moving, and I kept moving with it. I kept jumping and jumping and lining up my shot so that it was timed exactly correctly.
The Chrysler building is my absolute favorite building in the whole world. There's nothing like it, right?
I know, it's so classic and the architecture is so beautiful.
And speaking of which, we're going to look at another shot of it. Now this is just a basic moon that you shot?
Actually, no, it's not.
What moon is this?
This was, there's that saying, once in a blue moon.
Yes.
This is the second blue moon of 2018. There was 2 blue moons. So this was on April 1st, first day of Passover. And what's it called? I went to the roof of my building, and I didn't expect the moon to be there. I actually have an app that like shows you where the moon is going to be, but at this point I hadn't started using it. So I went up to the roof of my building, and I didn't know where the moon was going to be. And there's actually a video of me on Instagram where I'm jumping up and down with excitement that I see that is going to cross the Chrysler building, which is my favorite building.
It's just so
It was kismet.
Yes, it was kismet. Next building is the Flatiron building, which is also just amazing for New York.
Oh, this is also one of my favorite buildings. A lot of people take pictures of this. I was with a friend who was visiting New York from England, and he wanted to go take pictures of the Flatiron, so he and I went out there together. And you know, nighttime is the best time because it's the least amount of people on the road, so we got like nice empty streets, not too many cars. This was a beautiful night altogether.
And you chose to do it in black and white. I'm sure you did it in color as well.
Yeah, it's very bright around the Flatiron. So like when you're doing a long exposure shot, which is the best way to expose a picture at night, with so many lights around, it kind of drowns out the photo in too much light.
And here's one more shot of the Flatiron. Only this is either manipulated with snow, or is it real snow?
No, this is real snow. I had a friend, and she and I were planning to go out in the middle of the night. You can actually see the time on the clock. I think it was near 2 a.m. or 3 a.m.
Yes.
And it was flurrying, and I come out there with my flash, and that's like the trick to catching the snow is bring a flash, and the flash freezes the snow as it falls. So even though it's flurrying, which isn't that much snow on the ground, it's still catching everything in the shot.
Who do you learn from when you take pictures? Is there somebody that you try to emulate?
Nobody specifically, but Instagram is a huge inspiration. There's so many talented people on there. Tons of people who are doing similar things to me, better or worse, and we connect with each other, we learn from each other, we grow from each other. It's actually, you know, they have Instagram meetups that are sponsored by different pages where all these different photographers of all these different levels get together, and it's really a wonderful place to like grow.
Now you do events and you do families.
Yeah.
I suppose you do weddings too.
Yes.
But is somebody recognizing, like I am, your landscapes? And are you winning some awards?
Not yet.
But you're going to.
Yes, I'm on my way. You know, I entered this photo into a competition and I was a finalist. I didn't win, but it's still an honor.
The next one that we're going to look at is the Empire State Building, which, how did you get this?
That was actually really cool. I went to the Brooklyn Bridge hoping for one shot and it didn't come out. And then I was walking back to my car and just where my car was parked, I saw this. This was the frame right in, the sun had just come up, so you had the light flushing in from one side of it. And it was just, this was perfect.
Sometimes, it is perfect.
Yeah. I think my favorite shots are the ones that I don't plan out. You know, it's like you go and you plan and then the clouds come and they mess it up. But then you go out with no plan whatsoever and you catch the most amazing things that are completely unexpected.
How do you know when you got the shot? Because you can take 100 of these.
Yeah.
And they can look very similar, but how do you know you got the shot?
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes you just know. Like you do take 100 of them. Even like last night with the moon, I took 100 of them, but I only picked the one where it was framed, you know, exactly the way I wanted it to be. This next one I think you're going to show with the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yes.
That was a tough one to choose which one.
So do you manipulate a lot of your photographs or no? That's just how was that taken?
I do my best not to manipulate. Again, this was with my flash. So my flash actually freezes the snow and when it comes closer to the camera, you get these big, round, perfect looking circles. But that's all the light manipulation. Like you can see the strings of the bridge are all lit up because my flash was lighting up the entire scene.
What have you learned in your few short years of being a photographer?
Oh God, patience.
Yeah, you have to wait for the shot.
Sometimes, you know, you catch the right shot, you know, sometimes without waiting for it, but then sometimes, you know, patience pays off and you get, you know, I think this is the right shot and then 3 seconds later the sky changes and it's even more brilliant than it was 3 seconds prior and, you know, I don't know. That's a hard question. I've learned so much.
When somebody describes your work, what do they say about you?
They say that I am a New York City photographer.
And I agree with them. and I think I wrote to you, I said, Connecticut would love to have you here as well.
Well, I appreciate that.
Because I think you tell a story. A big story with your photos. The next one is another bridge in New York City.
Yeah. This is also the Brooklyn Bridge, but you have the Manhattan Bridge sneaking out in the background. A group of us went out at sunrise, and we were all taking pictures of the sunrise.
Do you hang out with photographers pretty much all the time?
Well, not all the time, but we do get together, and we have different groups where like on WhatsApp together or Instagram chats, and like we all get together. Oh, guys, there's sunrise tomorrow. Who's getting together? 7:15 at this spot, you know, and whoever's available will go, and if you're not, you don't, but you'll go to the next one.
Does the mayor know about you?
I don't know.
De Blasio know about you in New York City? Because I think he should. Because I think you're just depicting some very romantic shots about the city. The next one again is snowing.
Oh, yeah.
Where is this?
This is Stone Street in downtown Manhattan. It is one of the most picturesque and most photographed streets in New York City. Yeah. People get this all times of year and all different weather. It's beautiful. It's all cobblestone streets. It reminds you of old New York, you know? And in the snow, it was just unbelievable. And to have this guy just walking. It
was perfect.
It was perfect.
Next one is Central Park.
Oh, this we had the, what did they call it? The cyclone blizzard of last year.
Oh, there's so many.
I know. It was
straight.
It was the first huge snowstorm of the year in January.
Which says, I should go outside now.
Exactly, which I didn't. I actually stayed inside. I have a lot of friends who went out and they got unbelievable photos, but my friend and I, we decided that we're going to go out the following morning. So this is the following morning. The stopped snowing. The sun was out. I'm sitting there waiting for my shot, and then this bird just lands right in front of me.
Perfectly in the middle of the bridge.
It was
with the
perfect
ducks.
With the light and the ducks and the bird. And this is also, you know, people comment that this is the Home Alone bridge, so they get very excited about that.
Yes, I can see that. Now, the skyline, you can't beat a New York skyline.
No, of course not.
And what time of night, just as the sun was going down or coming up?
Coming up. This is sunrise, taking a picture of New Jersey, of New York from the New Jersey side. Again, I was with a few different people where we all got together, and you know, these are fun because you can see the same shot, but from like 5 different perspectives.
Yeah, and the next one is also a skyline shot, which is different time of day.
This was nearing sunset, and this was cool. It's a reflection shot. It had rained the day before, and it was actually about to rain that day. So the whole rest of the sky was cloudy except for this part, and the sun was setting behind me. So you have the sun reflecting on the buildings, and I was using rain that had gathered on a fence post as a reflecting pool.
So you're really painting with your pictures.
I tried to. I come from a family of non-practicing artists.
Which means?
They can paint and draw, they just don't. But
interesting.
But
so you're using this medium.
I do. I didn't inherit the gift. I'm not as great as they are, but I tried to incorporate my eye into a different format.
It's beautiful. Now this statue, everybody knows this statue.
Yeah.
Where were you standing? Was it on Wall Street?
Yes, this was when the statue first came out, and it was supposed to be a temporary fixture until they decided to make it permanent. So I rushed over there, and again, it was snowing, and I think it was surrounded between the statue and the bull, tons of people. And I used this is my favorite story, I used my event photographer voice, and I actually announced to everybody that I wanted to take a picture, and I asked everybody to move to the side, and they did.
What does an event voice sound like?
Oh, I don't know if I can do it here. It's very loud.
Of course you can. So you just scream.
Yeah, it's you know, I'm a tiny person, but you see a large camera, and I think it commands authority. You know, so I said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, you know, I apologize for interrupting this lovely afternoon. If I can get you all to move to one side and to the other side for just 2 minutes so we could take a photo, that would be amazing.
And they did it.
And they did. And immediately I had a line of people behind me that were trying to, as soon as I moved, to jump in and replicate the shot.
Well, that should tell you something.
Yeah.
That you can do whatever you want.
It was powerful.
I'm sure it was. Speaking of powerful, here's another shot of New York.
Oh yeah. This was actually my very first New York City long exposure shot.
Which, I don't even know how you do that.
Long exposure is what you do when you're trying to take pictures of the lights at night. It's the best way for the photos, the colors and the lights to come out. So this was my first time playing around with it, and I zoomed in and zoomed out very quickly, and I got this very cool time warp effect. And to this day, I think this is one of my favorite photos. And it was like when I first started learning how to do this, I had just gotten a tripod, so this was me experimenting.
And from high up to down low.
Yes.
Tell me about this.
Very down low. I was laying in the middle of the street.
Of course you were.
I saw the sun. I was following the sun. I saw the way the light was hitting the buildings and the ground and the reflecting, and I loved it. It's golden hour. This was sunset. And there was actually a car coming at me, which I didn't realize until I had put the camera down. You know when you see in your car objects are closer than they appear?
Sure.
That's exactly what it was. Like, I saw it in my camera, but I'm like, oh, it's far, and then you put your camera down and it's like right in front of you. He wouldn't have run me over.
So you're really involved in your work.
I'm very involved. I turned around and there was actually 2 people right behind me with their cell phones. I was like, oh, hello.
Well, they're emulating what you're doing. Another picture. Where is this in the city?
This is a rooftop in Dumbo, Brooklyn. Dumbo stands for Down Under Manhattan Bridge Overpass. So here is the Manhattan Bridge right in front of us.
And is this a water
Yes.
tank?
So this, I'm going to give a shout out to the artist. This is 3 water tanks in Brooklyn made by an artist called Tom Furwin, and he is amazing.
I had no idea.
So amazing. So this one's on top of this building, and then he has one that's right off the highway, which is also my favorite because I get to see it every time I drive by. He's got one in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and I have photos of all 3 of them. But this is my favorite simply because of the reflection, and you know, it was tough getting onto this rooftop.
But you're little, so you can do it. And
yes.
Then we end with the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
What time of day? This is just stunning.
This was sunset, and it was just, God, I don't know. I've been trying so hard to get the sun to be centered with the Statue of Liberty, and it worked out so well with the clouds. I think this whole picture is just nature at its finest.
Who buys your stuff? Who buys your photographs?
Mostly doctors' offices. And
really?
Yeah, I get a lot of offices asking me for it. I have a technology office in Manhattan that has 20 pieces of work from me. And then I had an art show recently where I had a few people buy from there, but I'm still trying to get the word out.
Proudest moment as a photographer, Jamie?
Proudest moment. I had a woman who came up to me after the wedding and she said to me, I know we got a lot of good pictures tonight because every time you took a good one, you looked at your camera and you smiled. And that to me, you know, I'm taking those pictures for them, but I'm taking them for me. When I know I take a good picture, when I know this is exactly how I want it to be, like, that makes me proud. People telling me I love my photos, that makes me very happy.
And are you traveling much outside the city? Or do people say, hey, we're going to get married in, I don't know, Cabo, and they fly you down there? Are you there yet?
I'm not there yet. I'm still waiting. The furthest I've been asked to go is New Jersey, which isn't too far from where I am now, but, you know, it's not so bad.
And this is your day job. You're a full-time
I do events, I do portraits, I do cake smashes. I love working with kids and families.
What is a cake smash?
Oh, when a child turns 1 year old and you give them their own little personal cake and you take pictures of them devouring it and you get like a face full of cake and hands full of cake and it's just such messy goodness.
Do you have any desire to shoot movie stars or go out west, or are you doing what you're supposed to be doing?
I would like to shoot more landscapes around the world. Like, my dream is to, you know, get paid to travel to different locales. It's more outside of the U.S., but also, like, there's so many places within the U.S. that are gorgeous that I haven't seen yet. But I am a landscape photographer. People tell me I'm a New York City photographer, and I consider myself a landscape photographer who happens to live in New York City. So I take advantage of the landscape that's around me. But if you're going to put me in the woods or you're going to put me in the mountains or by the ocean, I'll have a blast with it as well.
Well, I appreciate so much you sharing your delightful pictures.
Thank you so much for having me here.
I really appreciate it. Look her up. She's terrific. Thanks again.
Thanks so much.
Spend all night kissing and if was right here, then who else is missing? Got a little sidetracked if I'm so wishing I could find the keys to the door, but it's also a metaphor. Need to keep locked in the grocery store of my mind. Just to save time, skip right ahead to the last ride.